Hey, yo, what's mobbing? It's your boy Kid Nook, man. And I ain't gonna lie, dog. I need some answers, man. Did 1090J just get exposed for clout chasing? Moe Gangat, mostly known for his Instagram, Lawyers for Workers, made a video about 1090J exposing Boston Richey, saying that it was false and he was clout chasing.
It's also caught my eye about snitching. If you haven't watched my last video where I discussed the YSL judge using the word snitch in just the worst context with jurors today, please go check it out. Boston Richey, this is an up-and-coming rapper, somebody sent me, and it caught my eye because there's a message from the rapper to this like YouTube investigator, the YouTube police basically, and the YouTuber's accusing him of snitching, and he's like, yo, I'm not snitching, check my paperwork. So I looked at it, and one of the things, people really use the word snitching just out of context. So classic example, snitching is when you give up information to do a better deal for yourself. We all remember Tekashi 6ix9ine, a guy who, not only snitches, but he actually like sort of brings people into the gang who before weren't in the gang. He puts the money up to get them in, and then when it all goes left, he takes the deal and they do the time. Classic snitching scenario. This guy Richie, apparently what happened in this case is the police show up at his house and there's a dead body. So right there, I definitely recommend, don't say anything to police, have a lawyer present, but when there's a dead body and the cops show up at your residence, there's going to be some level of interaction with law enforcement. Let's not accuse people of snitching whenever something like that happens. And then basically they start asking him questions. They ask about like other beefs and altercations he's had with people in the neighborhood. And then ultimately the guy, this guy who's accused of committing that murder that led to the dead body, he ends up taking a plea for like 10 to 15 years where there's like all this other evidence, including like a text message with him and his girl involving the mention of a gun and other damning evidence that leads to this situation. Look, the word snitch, it gets tossed around way too much. Like I said, please make sure you go watch my last video on the YSL case where the judge used snitch in a really inappropriate manner. But these are real life situations with real life people at stake, and for YouTube internet clout chasers to just run around yelling snitch this, yelling snitch that, there's a time and a place, and when it's called for and it's appropriate, great. The rest of it, clout chasing.
Now, I want to start this off by saying I rock with Moe Gangat on most of his insight, but to call 1090J a clout chaser is crazy. Boston Richey hit that man up himself and said, hey man, check into this, man, because these dudes lying on me. And guess what? 1090J holds no punches. He has no fight in his battle. So when he speaks on cases, he's unbiased any and every time. People like me and a lot of people that are in the streets love what 1090J does because he's not biased and he really shows love and he really spits facts and he gets his info. I have a newfound respect for 1090J because when the Boston Richey snitch allegations first came about, I was trying to find the paperwork. I couldn't find it. So now I have a whole new respect for him and what he do, because it's not just accessible to anybody. You have to know where to go and how to look it up. So shout outs to him. This entire situation is given that you've been paid off, because there's no way that you looked at that and said that that's not snitching, first of all. Second of all, let's break down what snitching actually is. When you're a street guy and you participate in street activities, you do not tell the police anything. You don't give them any information on anybody at all. Your whole example about 6ix9ine is one definition of snitching. But guess what? That's not the only way that somebody can be a snitch. When you are in the streets and proclaim to be a street guy and the police come question you about somebody else, first of all, he wasn't even in trouble. They was questioning him because the guy that got murdered was his cousin. That's the only reason why they even asked him anything. The fact that he even told them, like, yeah, I know him. That's so-and-so that goes by this name, so-and-so. I had an altercation with him 2 months ago where I was on the wrong side of town and bruh act like he had a handgun on him and stuff like that is exactly the definition of snitching. When you're a street guy, you don't even do stuff like that. He wasn't even in trouble. So why would you offer up that information unless you were trying to cooperate with the police? That is snitching. No, he did not get a lesser deal on anything. No, because he was not in trouble. He wasn't investigated. The person who got killed was his own cousin. When you a street guy, you don't act like that. That is civilian behavior. So if you're in the streets and you do stuff like that, When they questioned him, he shouldn't have gave no statement. He could have let everybody else in the house give a statement, but he did not have to give them a statement if they came and asked him. He said way too much. Not to mention, 1090 also stated that the piece of evidence that he gave to give them the motive for the murder is sealed. So what exactly do you mean he didn't snitch? If a piece of his evidence put a man in jail, that they had to seal his statement. They had to seal it. That means he cooperated. Stop it. And I said this multiple times. I rock with Moe Gangat for most of what he does. But what I don't like is how he trying to downplay 1090 Jake and what 1090 Jake does. Basically saying that he's a YouTuber, he's clout chasing, and he's not factual. When we only know Moe Gangat for his Instagram page, Lawyers for Workers. He comments on so many people's cases so much that people out there actually think that he is actually representing some of these clients, but he's not. He's just speaking on them. You know how many times I done seen comments like, dang, this guy's everybody's lawyer. He has not been anybody's lawyer. He just comments on the cases. For you to think that your opinion matters more than 1090 Jake's, who's only been unbiased, and your opinion sound like you've been paid off. How do you say that that's not snitching when he gave up information? On top of that, 1090 also exposed another case where he definitely told. No ifs, ands, or buts. Come on now. But that's just my opinion. How do y'all feel about it, man? Do you think 1090 Jake was right and Boston Richey is a snitch? Or do you think Lawyers for Workers is right and Boston Richey did not snitch? Let me know in the comment section, man. Also, hit that like button, man, and subscribe to the channel. I'm on a 10K subscriber grind. I'm currently at 4K subs, man. Help me out. This is E-Kid Nuck, Stupid Opinions.
Couldn't walk a mile up in my shoes. They say that if you snooze, you're gonna lose. Everybody wasting time, but I'm just staying on my grind till I ain't got nothing to prove.